this might be a tough decision right now.
My team did absolutely
Some
garbage.
NFL games that were like,
Right.
whoa. I actually don't
Had
understand.
a lot of mixed feelings.
Welcome, Disgruntled. We have another guest here on the Legal Domains.
And then now we do this. Wait, I didn't even check. Oh, that's such bad framing.
That is terrible. Go
Alright,
fix it. Go fix
yeah,
it.
that was.
Go fix it. It's like you have no expectation for this podcast. You're never just like, I want this to be good. You just record it and don't even care how it turns out. That's what you do. God. Nice.
No, wait, now we have to like put it back and be like, oh my god, like whoa,
Shit, yeah.
whoa.
No way you're gonna fucking edit that.
I'm gonna fucking. What do you mean? I edited it from second 1 to second. Oh wait, yeah, I'm just not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm gonna leave it all in. How does it taste?
You know that sound? What is that? It's like pop rocks in your mouth,
Mm-hmm.
and you just hear it like echoing through your head. That's
Yeah.
what that just sounded when I opened this.
Really? Yeah. Do you like it?
It's as good as any seltzer I've had. I'm not a seltzer guy.
Honestly, tropical pineapple is the best flavor that I've had so far. Out of these, at least.
I like this more. Mango peach, baby.
So what are we doing here? What?
I'll tell you, God.
Well, tell me faster. Maybe I'll listen to you.
Okay, so we have a game
A game?
where we predict
Yeah, predict.
things that happen in games in the NFL.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that a great description of what? God damn it.
Honestly, that was a lot better. I think that's more
We have a
interesting than.
game where we predict things that happen in games.
I like the little
Great log line.
philosophical
Just great
and
log line.
end zone.
It's like
I thought you were going to comment on the fact that I just said end zone, and that was nowhere near what. Like, it didn't make any sense with an eye. You always
I'm
make
just
fun of
used to
me.
it at this point.
That is true, but like, you always catch me.
I didn't really hear the context of how you're saying it. I heard end zone, but I didn't hear the sentence leading up to it.
No, because you just fucking tune me out every
Yeah.
time I talk, you fucking bitch. All right, you wanna go over the Pro Bowl now?
Do
Go-
you? Because I don't.
Well, I mean, like, we fucking did that little game at the very end of the last podcast, and we might as well just do
Except
like.
we really didn't. We just like went through it.
Yeah, we
didn't
yeah.
like write down what our predictions were. Precision passing. I don't know who won.
I also
I don't know.
I
the result.
damn it.
oh, I do know.
Mm-hmm.
The best catch results. I don't remember precision passing or thread the needle, but the best catch was won by one of the Diggs brothers. Guess who?
Fucking the cowboy guy.
Yeah, Trevon
Damn
Diggs
it.
beat Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, and a fourth,
He
Justin Jefferson. He beat 3 wide receivers in the best catch challenge.
he cheats 100%.
They're pretty cool. He did a flip.
He did, like, in the game or
No, not in
after.
the game. In the best catch challenge.
Oh, I'm trying to fucking.
It's like the slam dunk competition of the NFL.
No.
It was not as exciting though.
Well, yeah, fucking. It's the Pro Bowl. It's the NFL Pro Bowl. Like, it's nothing exciting about that. But fuck
They
that.
had some judges.
Mhm.
The Giants guy who did the helmet catch. What was his name?
I don't know.
Fuck. Tyree?
I don't know.
David Tyree?
I'm trying.
Tyree Giant.
Tyree Jackson.
David Tyree, yeah.
David Tyree. Is that his full name?
David Tyree.
David Tyree.
Yeah, who did the helmet catch.
AFC wins 5th straight in a row. Pro Bowl, sorry, but okay.
Really? Wow. Well,
Why did you bring up Tyree? Sorry, that was just a little.
he was one of the judges for the best catch challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to say that they had some really cool judges,
Yeah.
previous receivers who have had some crazy catches in big moments. And they voted Trayvon over the other wide receivers. And then in fastest man, it was Trayvon, Micah Parsons, Tyreek Hill, of course, as we expected, and Nick Chubb. Those were the four. And Micah Parsons, shirtless, beat them all.
I hate the fact that he won.
He was the heaviest amongst all of them. Tyreek Hill didn't get himself set, but the others took it seriously, and somehow he beat them. And then in epic Pro Bowl dodgeball, Justin Jefferson won it for the NFC. And it was a very bad production, the skills challenge. It was just like an hour rushing through all these different challenges and games. And it just like, I don't know, it just felt very weird.
I feel like it always has a weird vibe in it because I feel like everyone's. Wait, hold on, I have to burp again. There we go. I feel like everyone's like kind of excited to be there just because like they're hanging out with like everyone, but like they don't want to do anything. Like they're actually there. Like for example, like with the matchup, like the actual game, like there is only 2 total tackles where someone like tackled someone to the ground. That you say to me like a few moments before this podcast, and then just like that creates a weird energy within the skills competition as well, because it's not that they weren't really trying in the skills, it's just that it was more laid back and it's just kind of like a week-long vacation rather than, I feel like they're more there for vacation, quote unquote, and like hanging out with other Pro Bowlers and other like skill level players and hanging out with them rather than the competition aspect where the all like basketball all-star and hockey and stuff is a lot more exciting to watch because they're actually in competition with each other rather than just being there to be fun.
Yeah.
But I was trying to look up the skills results and I cannot find anything because it only is showing like what the actual skills competitions are. But I want to like just read down who won each competition.
It doesn't matter. People can just watch the videos.
Yeah, it's just go on NFL.
Oh well, Russell Wilson set the precision passing record. He's done it like every year.
Really?
He always ends up in the Pro Bowl. And
does he always break the record too?
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's consistently done better and better each year, but he always represents the NFC. And this year he dominated.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of the most elite passers in this league. So.
And as far as the actual Pro Bowl game went, it felt like the only people who really cared in the game were like, well, I mean, you have like the big personalities and also people in their first Pro Bowl. And remember, there was no Pro Bowl game last year, so people who technically it was their second Pro Bowl, it was their actual like first Pro Bowl game. So, they tried a lot. So speaking of like Justin Jefferson, who was a Pro Bowler last year but didn't get to play, he was trying to show off. And then Trayvon Diggs on Stephon Diggs was a whole thing, because Stephon Diggs lined up against Trayvon Diggs when they were on their respective sides. And then Trayvon Diggs started playing wide receiver randomly for the NFC. And then Stephon Diggs was like, yo, put me in at corner. Stephon Diggs got the best of Trayvon on both sides. Stephon got a touchdown with Trayvon as the nearest defender. And Stephon batted down one of Trayvon Diggs's one of his targets. Yeah, Stephon got the best of him in that, despite losing to him in the best catch challenge, and among other things. And I guess epic Pro Bowl dodgeball as well.
Yeah.
But Max Crosby was like the one person who like really was like all in, basically.
Max Crosby?
Max Crosby from the Raiders. I mean, he was also at home, so I think that may have played into it, but pretty sure it was his first Pro Bowl. He won the defensive MVP. He went all in.
Yeah, I think it was
Mac Jones too.
Yeah, it was kind of a heartfelt moment too, because I just looked at one of the NFL posts and stuff, but I didn't realize that he was like an addict, and he's a fully recovered. He's a fully recovered addict, and this year is kind of, I think he played last year too, but this year was like his statement game or statement year. He massively improved, made it to the Pro Bowl, was one of the best defenders in the league. And this was just like a kind of heartfelt moment to win the Pro Bowl MVP, even though it was just a Pro Bowl and it doesn't really mean anything. To win the Pro Bowl MVP after recovering from a drug addiction is pretty impressive. because that's one of the hardest things to overcome. And on a side note, I found out the results of everything, every skills position. You kind of already mentioned it with the digs and stuff, but precision passing, you said it was Russell Wilson, so NFC won precision passing, fastest man, AFC won thread the needle, and NFC won best catch with Trevon Diggs. And I'm figuring out who won the dodgeball real quick.
It was NFC.
NFC?
Justin Jefferson had the final catch.
Yeah. So all of those highlights, if you want to watch it, which is probably a waste of your time, but it's all in the NFL. You just have to look up the event that you want to watch and just look it up on NFL YouTube channel, and you'll find it there. And then another little side quest or side story or surrounding the Pro Bowl is that Alvin Kamara got arrested.
Yes, he did get arrested afterwards.
Yeah, he got immediately arrested, and it's funny too because we were watching the highlights before this because I just wanted to see what was kind of the vibe, and he got arrested right after. But the incident happened Saturday night at a club because he assaulted someone, like beat someone up, and they landed in the hospital. And then once they fully recovered, they said that Alvin Kamara beat him up. So that's why he got arrested after the Pro Bowl and sent to jail. So that's going to be interesting on how that's going to turn out. I'm going to leave up like the police statement over Lane when I was talking about that. But what are your thoughts on that?
That sucks. I really don't know. I don't know too much. It's just it sucks for everyone involved. I feel like no one wins in that scenario. So
it looks like one of the best running backs is not going to play a while, unless if somehow NFL switches it, which I have a feeling they will, switches it for the better somehow, where it doesn't look as bad and blame the victim in that situation, and somehow turn it where Kamara is somehow the hero. But I don't know how they're going to do that one.
yeah. Darius Leonard also trying to be the first ever back-to-back Pro Bowl MVP. As everyone knows, he was the Pro Bowl MVP from the 2021 Pro Bowl, as we all know. And so he got pick 6 on the first drive of the game, and it was looking very good for him. But Max Crosby had 2 sacks, some quarterback hits, quote-unquote hits, and just absolutely dominated. He had some pass deflections. Yeah, he was just all over it. And I think the quarterbacks weren't really passing Darius Leonard's way after the pick 6 either. It's like hard, you know? Like if you're a linebacker or a cornerback, it's so easy to just like be taken for granted. Because like as soon as you have a good play, then they can easily like not target you. But it's not like they can ever like not target towards a defensive end. Like the defensive end is always coming at you. So I feel like linebackers and cornerbacks are typically very underappreciated, especially when it comes to the awards and accolades, defensive player of the year, stuff like that. It'll probably end up that TJ Watt wins defensive player of the year, despite Darius Leonard being an absolute monster, taking away the ball all season. And you can make the same case for Trevon Diggs, who took the ball away a lot in his interceptions, but a lot of people would argue when he's not intercepting, he's also terrible in coverage and was the most targeted cornerback in the league and led up the most yards. So, you know, it was a double-edged sword for his season. But Darius Leonard, I didn't really feel like had that same issue of just being terrible whenever he wasn't taking away the ball. He was also playing very injured, so he wasn't being as physical in tackles. He split a lot of tackles rather than getting a lot of solo tackles or like blitzing as he usually would. So that's my analysis.
And a quick thing too, we forgot last weekend to go over the bet, the $20 bet that someone placed on FanDuel, and it ended up winning $579,000. And you put like that image there. And I was meaning to do that when we were finished reviewing both of the games, the Chiefs, Bengals, and then the Rams 49ers games, but I just forgot to bring it up. That's crazy. Someone put a $20 bet and maximized their profit so much.
They correctly guessed the scores of both conference championships. So they said Bengals 27, Chiefs 24, which was plus 22,000 odds. And then Rams 20, 49ers 17, which was plus 13,000, adding up to plus $289,000. No, 2,895,000. That was the odd. It was in the million range. And so they went from 20 to $579,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
$500,000.
That's insane. Like, that's like such a cheap like placing bet to have that much profit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much taxes are going to take out of that. It's usually half on that, I think. I'm not 100% sure. So it's still like 275,000, maybe a little bit more than that, dollars that you got on a $20 bet. And FanDuel is known for placing a small bet in, and you can win like a shit ton of money, like in this case. But it's still very impressive that he was able to correctly guess the score of 2 games. We fucking.
It was a bonus, I think it says. So I'm pretty sure that means it wasn't exactly his $20.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, kind of like part of his membership. He just like got an award, like, oh, you can put $20 on whatever parlay. And he was like, okay, let's do this one.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane. So he didn't even spend $20.
I'm pretty sure that's what that means. The bonus used.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like double his money, like he put in 10 and added on another 10. I don't know though. I don't know the terms of that bonus, but you got a pretty good deal.
I think so. Did the MVP awards happen this?
No, it's gonna be this weekend.
Okay, this coming weekend.
Yeah, let's just go over our predictions from last year. I mean, not last year. Our predictions from earlier in the year about before the season started, about who we thought would get each category.
Oh yeah.
And which ones we think are most likely to hit.
Okay.
So MVP, I said Matthew Stafford, but I had my stretch pick because we both had a stretch or an alternate answer, but they had to be outside of the top 10 in odds for those categories. So I said Tua Tagovailoa for Miami. That was my stretch. And I think Matthew Stafford was in the conversation every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
He got I put him as high as like 3rd at one point late in the season, but yeah, the way he's been playing in the playoffs, really great. So maybe if they were to count playoffs, it would be different, but yeah, I would say Matthew Stafford not going to get it.
Yeah, I agree. For my MVP, my favorite would be Josh Allen, which he was in the conversation, not as much as Matthew Stafford, but he was within the top 5 a couple of times, and was staying up there. It was just the turnovers that kind of was this deal breaker for him. And my stretch was Carson Wentz, and in which he was not even close to being in the conversation of MVP. So that was a dud for me. But offensive player of the year, my stretch that I got was Milo Sanders, and he ended up getting hurt and not even scoring a singular touchdown this entire season. He did not score receiving or rushing a touchdown. So that was way off. I don't know if he broke a record, but he came damn near close to having the most attempts and the most rushing yards without a touchdown. He was like tripled next to the closest like running back who had the most attempts for this season, at least. Just for this season, he was like tripled, even quadruple the amount of attempts and yards next to the receiving, or the next rushing back for this year, which is absolutely absurd with going without a touchdown. So yeah, that was not even close. And then offensive player of the year for Travis Kelce. I mean, I don't know how close he was or if he wasn't even in the discussion, but I feel like he had a decent year this year. I mean, I don't think it was offensive player worthy year for him, but I still that was a pretty good.
It was an alright year. I just feel like with the other two headlining candidates, and you can even throw Debo in there, so it's like Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor, like the two headliners. Then you can throw Debo Samuel in there and say, okay, he could also be in the conversation, sort of. But comparatively, Travis Kelce isn't really in their tier.
Yeah.
As far as performances go, but he still had a very great year. I would say even better than Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs did have his career high in touchdowns, but he wasn't exactly like so heavily targeted. He didn't have like the most yards, most catches, especially just compared to Cooper Kupp. Like he definitely got beat out there. So that was my prediction. And then my stretch was Jonathan Taylor, who is a headliner for this category, breaking franchise records, getting pretty close to 2,000, but he didn't have the head start that like Derrick Henry did last year. Like Derrick Henry started off hot, finished hot. Jonathan Taylor wasn't exactly there. It was like 4 weeks in, he started to really get rolling. But there was a lot of categories where he definitely beat out Derrick Henry's very convincing offensive player year, which was in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think Jonathan Taylor could reasonably get it if it's just based off of the regular season. The only issue is that maybe because of the playoffs, they could consider Cooper Kupp. I don't think they're supposed to consider playoffs, but just the way Jonathan Taylor's season ended and the way Cooper Kupp's has continued to go, it's just like that could like mess with, the bias, I guess.
Yeah.
Just like the storyline, the narrative. But I think they're pretty like if we're looking just at regular season, I think they're pretty even as far as who should win. And my only argument would be that if you look at the passing side of the ball for Cooper Kupp, his quarterback was also like kind of in and out of the MVP race for a while, whereas Carson Wentz was nowhere to be found. Mm-hmm. And so Jonathan Taylor, I feel like, was considered more valuable to the team in that aspect. And Cooper Kupp was, he had Matthew Stafford. And then on the other side of the ball, you have 2 top 5 candidates at Defensive Player of the Year any given season. So, like, I feel like, just like with the system considered, Cooper Kupp was like primed to get like a really good season. Like, obviously, he's still a top 3 wide receiver, not to take away from his accomplishment, but I don't think he was as valuable to the team's success as Jonathan Taylor was. Obviously, you could talk about how, we had our offensive linemen do really well, but I don't think they were that great the entirety of the season. I think they had really great moments. And there are also moments like when we played against the Patriots and the Cardinals where he, had breakout runs where they weren't even playing in the game. They were out of the game entirely. So he proved that there were games without them they could do really well. So I'm making my argument to finish this category off that he should be the Offensive Player of the Year based off of how valuable he was, but they might just look at the numbers only because it is, in fact, not the MVP category, it's the Offensive Player of the Year category. So
yeah, I agree. Now, wait, did you say that you wanted to predict for next week, or do you think that the odds are already in favor for most of these categories?
Yeah, I think they're like pretty much decided. That's why I like highlighted those red.
Yeah.
Just because a lot of the ones in white are like likely to happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're not predicting. Like,
yeah, we're not gonna predict.
Yeah.
I think everyone already knows. Like,
okay.
MVP is Aaron Rodgers. Offensive Player of the Year is between Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp. Defensive Player of the Year, I said Chase Young, who got hurt, and then my alt was Darius Leonard, who should be in the conversation but is not really. He also missed a game and has also been playing hurt, so he didn't have like a lot of tackles like he did in his rookie season, but he did have a hell of a lot of forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, interceptions. So I feel like he should be in the discussion for that, but people, for some reason, appreciate the other numbers like sacks from the defensive ends. So TJ Watt is, I think, everyone's choice for Defensive Player of the Year. I think everyone has been saying that. Micah Parsons and Trevon Diggs at various points were like coming into the conversation because of Trevon Diggs' interceptions, and then Micah Parsons, he'll get Defensive Rookie of the Year definitely because he was just an all-around great player as far as turnovers and sacks and just everything goes. But TJ Watt like set a record, so
yeah, and that's the person who I picked as my favorite for Defensive Player of the Year, and my alternate / stretch is Fletcher Cox, which, I mean, he had a kind of good year, but nowhere near TJ Watt or even worthy. He wasn't even in conversation with the Defensive Player of the Year like Darius Leonard was, and it's most likely why Darius Leonard was not picked, or not even close. Well, he was close, but not the strong favorites because it's a popularity contest. And about, like you said, with the sacks, he doesn't have a lot of sacks. He was more turnover heavy, which is not a popular stat to be present in or to be good at for at least the award category. And I was going to say something else, but it completely floated my head. And I guess, do you want to just move on to the offensive rookie?
Yeah, offensive rookie of the year. I said Justin Fields, and then my stretch was Rashad Bateman. Both of them had terrible seasons, respectively. Rashad Bateman also didn't have a lot going for him as far as his like team is concerned. I feel like Lamar Jackson was hurt a lot, and when you look at that team, like they only come to life when Lamar Jackson is like playing really well. Like Marquise Brown was putting up amazing numbers when Lamar Jackson was playing, but then when what was his name, Huntley?
Yeah.
When Huntley
Jason
was playing,
Huntley,
it was more rushing attack. You know, they didn't want him to throw as much. So Rashad Bateman wasn't exactly on the best team for him to have the offensive rookie of the year campaign. Justin Fields, I mean, he has Allen Robinson, David Montgomery. They weren't exactly playing the best seasons of their career, but I think at the end of the day, it was just bad coaching and management on that team that really sank his chances. A lot of people expected him to be like one of the best fantasy quarterbacks in the season once they decided Dalton wasn't the way to go. A lot of people added him for that, and then it just completely was the opposite. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him when Eberflus takes over. We'll just have to wait and see. And then yours?
Yeah, so I think just to go back on what you said, because I wanted to add a little comment, I think everyone was jumping on it too because he was like that dual threat, and we haven't seen him before, but like the dual threat of a rushing quarterback and also a throwing quarterback creates a lot of fantasy points. So I think that's what everyone kind of flocked to that. But like you said, it didn't pan out. But my favorite was Trevor Lawrence, in which he did quite the opposite. I think you predicted that he would break the record for most interceptions in the year. He came close. He was 11 off from Peyton Manning, I think. But he did have only 12 touchdowns for 17 interceptions, which is a shit ton of interceptions, especially when you have the margin of more interceptions than touchdowns. That is even worse, because I feel like most quarterbacks in this league, even though like Eli Manning's year, Peyton Manning's year where they had a shit ton of interceptions, they always had a crap ton of touchdowns. And Brett Favre too, the gunslinger, they always had a crap ton of touchdowns to at least make up for the lack or for that amount of interceptions that they were throwing. But it's just absurd amount. It's really bad when you have more interceptions than touchdowns. And he did have 3,600 yards, 59.6 completion, 71.9 rating. I'm sorry that I went on a little tangent there, but yeah, that just nails the point of how bad Trevor did this season. I mean, he had some highlights, but nowhere near offensive rookie level. And then my second guess was Devontae Smith. He had a pretty good year, but nowhere close to being offensive rookie. He just needed a lot more yards, a lot more touchdowns, a lot more receptions, and I think it was due to Jalen Hurts. The camera stopped. I'm just going to finish this thought, and I'm going to reset it. But it was due to Jalen Hurts' inaccuracy and able to get it to Devontae Smith and throw it to him accurately and on time and knowing when to throw it to him, because Jalen Hurts was throwing to Devontae Smith a shit ton, in which could have put him to offensive rookie award-winning season, but it just wasn't there. And at least Devontae Smith also broke the Eagles rookie record for most receiving yards in a year. Now I'm going to reset the camera.
Yep.
And we're back.
So, yeah, now the favorites for that category are Mac Jones and Jamar Chase. A lot of people are saying, I think Mac Jones has the case just from how bad the Patriots were with their quarterback situation before and how he came in and led them to the playoffs. And, you know, there's the quarterback bias in general when it comes to these type of categories. So I can understand why people would say Mac Jones. He's also had a Pro Bowl appearance. I don't think he was I think he was a replacement though. He was an alternate, but still, it's very impressive. But I think Jamar Chase definitely will win it at the end of the day, just because he was the one who actually set records. And if they go off of playoff bias as well, now they're in the Super Bowl, and I'm pretty sure in all 3 games he was the leading receiver through those. Oh no, T. Higgins was in the conference championships, but in the wild card and divisional round, he's the leading receiver in those games. So if they look at that, then Jamar Chase is the easy answer. If not, then I think Jamar Chase is the reluctant answer. But either way, Jamar Chase has it.
Yeah, I agree. And I was going to say this, but how far are you in that seltzer? Okay, I was going to say, since we have like the half break, if you wanted to get do another one, like whenever.
No, I drink slow.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, that's where Offensive Rookie of the Year stands. It is more definite in the Defensive Rookie of the Year because of Micah Parsons. Neither of us really thought of adding him. I personally said Kwity Paye, and then my stretch was Greg Newsome. Both of them had respectable years. Kwity Paye definitely got off to a slow start, but then he was really rolling towards the end. Still, it was not exactly the best schemes for him or play calls for him in the beginning. I think it was just very rough to get used to it. I think there's a lot to look forward to with him next year. Maybe even a Pro Bowl appearance, depending on how our new defensive coordinator pans out and whatever other edge rushers come in, if they take away snaps from him or if they help him just thin out the offensive line, so that he can get more chances to go through. It'll be interesting to see. But Greg Newsome, I didn't really follow his year too much, but I did see him pop up every now and then in the highlights, and I haven't heard anyone say he was a bust, so I'm just going to assume he just had a decent year. Nothing to get accolades over, but still, he is also a rookie. So. And
for my rookie of favorite was Caleb Farley, solely because he has the same first name as me, and you don't really find that many Calebs in the world. I guess there is a pocket where Caleb was a very popular name, I guess the earlier generations, but it's still cool to see someone who's named Caleb in the league. I heard absolutely nothing from him. I have no idea if he had a good season or a bad season. Like you said about Greg Newsome, I didn't see anything bad about him, so I'm assuming he had a solid season. And then Asante Samuel Jr., he started off this season, first half of the season, really, really well. And then after that, I just didn't really hear from him. He was doing very, very good for this Chargers, but I just don't know what he did the second half. I would say that he probably was in conversation at one point in the first half, maybe in the top 5, at least the top 10. But yeah, it just wasn't good enough to win accolades, like you said about Greg Newsome.
Yeah, Greg Newsome was ranked by PFF as the 18th best rookie from the season. And then your cornerbacks were not even in the top 25.
No, never mind then. I thought Asante Samuel was doing good, so I guess not. Or at least good enough to make it into the top 25.
I mean, they had Javonte Williams at 25, so it was an interesting list.
Yeah. Take it as you will. But comeback player of the year, my favorite was Saquon Barkley. I thought he would actually have a good season because even though Giants do awful, Barkley always has a good season. Over 1,000 yards, when he's held multiple touchdowns, really good in receiving aspect, that multi-back when he's not injured, but after he got injured, he's never really been the same, and I thought this year was the year for him where he found his footing again and was that elite player that he was in his first couple of years before he got injured, but that just was not the case. He was struggling to get touchdowns. I think it took him 3/4 of the season to actually get his first touchdown of the year, so it took him very long time for that, and I think he was also in and out of injury as well, so his injury luck still was not there, or his injury luck did not turn for his favor, in which I thought it would, and I was hoping that it would because I love Saquon Barkley, even though he's a Giant. It's hard not to like him. And then my stretch was Odell Beckham Jr. He had a solid season, but his first half of the season with the Cleveland Browns with a Baker Mayfield drama, Mayfield not throwing Odell's way and Odell getting angry, forced a release. No one wanted to pick him up. No one wanted to trade for him, which was really weird. And Rams, like we've talked about on this podcast multiple times, got him for a really good deal, all in Bitcoin, I'm pretty sure. And is that not?
I'm sure that someone in the league is on a Bitcoin contract.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure if that's how they paid him.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if I read it from like a Instagram meme page or not, but that's what I heard. And with his Ram run in the last last quarter of the season was really, really well, but it was not consistent enough to actually have a comeback player type sort of deal, and he didn't really get injured, or did he get injured last year, the year before this one? Do you remember? Or
he was injured when Browns were in the playoffs, at least. I don't know when last year OBJ was injured, but definitely by the time of the playoffs, he was not playing.
Yeah.
When Browns had a playoff win and then suffered a huge decline for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's really weird, but I'm glad he did make a really good comeback this year, I think. But it just took him way too long to have that comeback season. And if he was on the Rams, I think he would be a solid choice for comeback player of the year. How about you?
So, I said Dak Prescott, because I'm pretty sure that was like the favorite amongst everyone at that point. And I think he still is the favorite, but I think it's 50-50 actually with him and Joe Burrow. I saw the odds say Dak Prescott was ahead by a little bit and then Joe Burrow second, but I think it's basically 50-50 just because I'm pretty sure they ended up statistically around the same place as far as regular season stats go. If they have playoff bias, then maybe it'll change. Joe Burrow is going to the Super Bowl after all. I think that satisfies the comeback criteria from your team being a 4-win team and you being injured as well, which are like the major criteria for a comeback to begin with. And then the comeback and solidify yourself as not only a top 10 quarterback, but then also take your team to the Super Bowl. I feel like that storyline satisfies the award better, but if we're just looking at regular season, I think it's pretty 50-50 because Dak Prescott did take his team to the playoffs as well, and I'm not sure, I think maybe they had a better record than the Bengals.
Yeah, they did. I think Bengals was 10-6, and I think, or 10-7, and I think the Cowboys were 11-6. I'm pretty sure.
Fascinating. I will double check that actually right now.
Are you actually doing it?
Yeah, dude.
Quick side note: whose bright idea was to mix watermelon and lime together? I would never have thought. I feel like those were two completely opposite ends.
So Dallas was 12-5, while Cincinnati
10-7. I was right. Boom. Get burned. Get wrong. You're fucking.
I never gave a guess, so I can't be wrong. Dak Prescott. I don't know. I think it's 50-50 basically.
I agree.
For that category. And my stretch was Jameis Winston, who got injured, but before that, he was okay. So he probably was going to win it. Coach of the year, I said Frank Reich, who was getting some interest in that category up until the final two losses where they ended up not making the playoffs. So, yeah.
Yeah. Rough one with the Jags loss.
A lot of people were saying that even if they made the playoffs, he shouldn't get it because they didn't win the division. However, last year, the Browns coach won Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, won Coach of the Year, but did not win the division.
Damn. I forgot that he won that.
Yeah. So I also said Cliff Kingsbury, who, they definitely improved a lot from the last season and had the longest win streak of all teams. So maybe they will give it to him. I don't think he's the favorite, but I don't know if there's a clear-cut favorite right now. I'll look up some odds while you go over years.
So my favorite was Ron Rivera. And, the Washington did not do good whatsoever. The only chance that Ron had was last year, and that was because the Washington, now Commanders. We can get into that a little bit if you want to quickly. Nah. But I kind of want to because I just wanted to option of fucking trashing on them. But sorry. His only biggest chance was last year, and I don't think he's going to have as good of a chance as the year before this past year, this year that we're currently in. Just because I think Washington is just on the downtrend, and I just don't think he's going to have it or be fired soon and be an offensive coordinator somewhere. But he had a terrible season. I don't know what the Washington's record was, but my alt was Nick Sirianni, which is still, you can say he's still in the runnings. I think it's like Cliff Kingsbury, where it's not very likely that he's going to win it or the favorite, but he did switch around a completely new team from a 4-11-1 team to a playoff 9-8 team, which is very good. It's just impressive no matter what for a new coach, a completely new coaching staff, basically new team with players and everything. So
Are you
yeah,
ready?
it
Are you
was
ready?
very
Are you ready?
very
Are you
impressive
ready?
year.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready? Top 5 in odds, according to sportsbettingdime.com. Number 5,
Number 5.
Nick Sirianni, Eagles.
Ayo.
Number 4, Bill Belichick, Patriots. Number 3, Mike Vrabel, Titans, who I think should win. Number 2,
Mhm.
Matt LaFleur, Packers.
Mhm.
Fair. Number 1, guess.
Cliff Kingsbury.
No.
The Bengals coach.
Yep, Zach Taylor is number 1 in the odds, which I didn't really think about, but makes sense, I guess. I would give it to Matt LaFleur or Mike Vrabel sooner than Zach Taylor, but I understand.
Yeah.
There could also be some playoff bias in the voting at the end of the day. Who knows? I don't know how they really decide any of these categories for sure, but I've been told that it is a regular season award.
So do you want to go over Commanders real quick?
No.
All right, so Washington changed their name. Just very excited. Washington changed their name to Washington Commanders, which is a stupid-ass name. They had like a list of 5 choices that did not get copyrighted by some random fan. And so they picked the Commanders, which was a stupid name, like I said, but their jerseys was really good. I love the jerseys, the color scheme, everything. That's the only thing that they did right. But I guess Commanders is slightly better than Washington football team or the Washington football team. So I just wanted to go over briefly as well. Doug Peterson signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I feel bad for him because I don't think he's good enough coach to actually turn that organization around. He ended his Philly career, head coaching gig with Philly, in a dumpster fire, and he's heading into another dumpster fire in the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I think it's going to be an even worse year, which is I don't even know how you possibly do that. Going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, he's been god-awful the past couple of years. I don't know how you make that worse, but I predict that Doug Peterson is going to make that team that much worse just because of the situation, how he left the Eagles, and just the situation that he's going to. It's just not a good mix, and I feel bad for him because he's a beloved Eagles coach because he brought the Philadelphia Eagles their first Super Bowl win ever in NFL history, and he's a beloved coach in that way, but I just want him to succeed elsewhere, and I wish he will succeed elsewhere, but this is not it. What are your thoughts on the matter?
I don't really care about either.
You don't really care about that? I thought you would have something to say about the Jaguars, or you just don't care about it.
Why would I care about the Jaguars? It's going to be the same old thing.
Do you think it's going to be better or for worse?
For better or for worse?
Yeah.
Than having no coach?
No,
I
like
guess better.
I meant like Doug Peterson, will it be a better situation in the past couple of years?
I mean, I would say, I mean, despite all the controversy that whatever his name was a good fit, but you know, it's just tension rises once you realize the organization sucks, and then all of a sudden you don't want to be there anymore, and then it's just not an organization that's made to win. So eventually you just have to come to terms with it. You know, it's right now it's the honeymoon phase where you're like, okay, I can be, or the fairy tale phase, maybe even a better way to put it, where you think that you are the person who can change the history of the organization. You can turn things around, and then you're there, and it's like, oh, dumpster fire.
Yeah.
It's like it's not even worth it. So, they're wasting Trevor Lawrence's career. They nearly wasted Jalen Ramsey's, but he got traded away, thank God. And Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yeah. Yeah.
List goes on. So.
Yeah. I think there was another hire. Do you know the hire that I'm talking of, or?
It was Mike McDaniels of the Dolphins. There are a lot today, actually. I'm pretty sure all the head coaching vacancies have been filled up.
Yeah. What do you think about the Dolphins' new hire?
I think that's going to be an exciting team now.
Mm.
Not to say that Brian Flores was not exciting. I thought he was an okay coach, but I really like Mike McDaniels' his philosophy, and I think it will benefit Tua more and that offense. And Mike McDaniels has already went on the record saying that he won't change the defensive coaching, the coordinator or the positional coaches, because he already likes how the defense has played, which was Brian Flores' specialty, as a defensive coordinator at heart. The defense should remain good as long as the Brian Flores influence doesn't, disappear, and Mike McDaniels will be able to spice up that offense and actually make Tua look good, I think. But It depends. It depends on who he brings in.
Do you know the other coaching
He
hires?
could bring in Brandon Ayuk. I don't know if Brandon Ayuk has a real, not to say history, a real future on the 49ers, just given the weird drama with him and Kyle Shanahan. So maybe he's going to be going over there. Maybe Raheem Mostert eventually goes over there once they realize, like, oh, they don't really need him to be a lead back because Deebo Samuel kind of took over the rushing game along with, assisting backs as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they don't need a number one running back because they have Debo. I mean, it would still be nice to have that dynamic duo, but it'll just depend on how that works out. I feel like Mike McDaniels may try to push for getting Raheem at some point. I think that might be interesting.
Wait, is that the guy who's the stoner? The Mike, or the head coach? Or
Most people believe that is the case, and I'm pretty sure Miami has it illegal. So
yeah, that's
we
good.
might struggle.
So I'm just going to. So did we go over the new Vikings head coach?
No, I don't know anything about him.
I don't know anything about him, but it's Kevin O'Connell, new head coach of the Vikings.
We gotta go over the Super Bowl, man. Fuck these coaches we don't know about. Let's go over the Super Bowl.
All right, let's go over the Super Bowl then. All right.
Fuck these dudes. They'll prove to us who they are once the season starts, but as of right now, I don't care. Like, the Saints hired their defensive coordinator. I don't care about talking about that. The people want to hear about the Super Bowl.
I just thought that they would also want to know some off-season stuff,
They don't want to know about that yet.
Yeah.
They want to wait. They want the Super Bowl.
I was just, I was honestly low-key wondering how long I could string you on until we get to the Super Bowl, until you would notice. Like,
people want to talk about the Super Bowl.
Okay, I honestly accidentally forgot to fill in my stuff, so
We'll just go one at a time then.
yeah, one at a time.
So, for those who didn't know, the Bengals and the Rams are playing in the Super Bowl at SoFi Stadium, so could be a similar situation to the Bucs where they have home field advantage. Well, I mean, yeah, Rams will have home field advantage, but will it be as dominant for the Rams as it was for the Bucs? Because Bucs have a great turnout generally, but when it comes to playing a lot of teams, Rams sometimes feel like they're not even having a home field advantage, like when the 49ers come down or whenever they've had to play the Raiders or the Chargers. It'll be interesting to see the turnout. And in general, a lot of people, like celebrities, come and are typically apathetic. It's just a schmooze fest. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many actual fans are willing to pay that cost. I have the Rams winning the Super Bowl. They're going to win it all. Matthew Stafford will win his ring. It's going to be beautiful. Joe Burrow has the rest of his career. Matthew Stafford, I don't know how much longer he has left.
He's pretty young. He's like early 30s. You fucking bitch. You fucking now. I don't even know. Fucking little bitch. All right, continue. Sorry.
So Joe Burrow is younger by almost a decade, so he has more time.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk about who you have?
I thought you would go that on a little bit longer, but I have the Bengals winning because I knew you were going to pick the Rams. I was about to pick the Rams. And, I'm only down by 4 points, which I shouldn't be throwing Hail Marys in. Like, I am about to be through these predictions, through the rest of these predictions, because we have a long list of, you see eventually. But, I just want to throw in a couple of Hail Marys, and I do generally believe that the Bengals, solely on the fact that the NFL is scripted, will win the Super Bowl because everyone loves Joe Burrow. That's what's going to.
They want to see him smoke that cigar.
Yes, they want to see him smoke that big joint. How do you? It's not joint, but it's like
joint.
Not like it's joint. It's like Joe Joit joint.
Joint?
Yeah.
I've never heard that in my life.
It's like not joint, but it's like I don't even know. If this was popular enough, the fucking YouTube people would know.
Yeah, we would have a live chat. It's like, it's joint.
Yeah.
You guys are dumb.
But everyone's going or doing googly eyes over Joe Burrow. Everyone is falling in love with Joe Burrow. He's a young buck. And, yeah, I just think they're going to continue this momentum that they have from week 1 in the weekend wildcard playoffs. To now, they beat the best teams in the AFC. They didn't rely on other teams to beat them, but they beat the Chiefs. They beat They beat the Raiders, who are nobodies. Who did they beat after the Raiders? I forget.
Wait,
but
what?
The Bengals.
Oh, the Bengals playoff run?
Yeah, it was Raiders.
Titans and Chiefs.
Oh, Titans, which was the first seed, and then the Chiefs. So it's not like they had other teams beat the good teams. They beat the good teams in the AFC. So I think they have at least a
I
chance.
don't know about that.
But all right, so
Just the Chiefs.
so Titus says that the Chiefs are awful, the Titans are awful, and the Raiders are all god awful.
I said
know.
the Chiefs.
I just try to put words.
The
in
only
your-
team, Raiders and Titans, we're not playing like playoff teams during those games, but
Yeah. So
well, actually, Titans defense did good.
yeah.
Titans offense.
Yeah. But the only way that I see the Bengals losing is if that Rams defensive line gets Joe Burrow, and which I think is going to be a very, very big problem. But I think they're going to overcome it like they did overcome the Titans defense, because the Titans had 9 total sacks and Joe Burrow still won that game. Well, I guess Evan McPherson won that game because he had the most points in that game. But Joe Burrow did something. But that's the only way that I see the Bengals losing in this game.
Really?
Because the Chiefs struggled, or Bengals struggled against the Chiefs that way.
You
And
want to
this-
know how I think the Rams will win this game?
How?
Aaron Donald.
Damn.
Aaron Donald will win Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the only way they win is through that defensive line.
Aaron Donald.
I'm agreeing with you, you fucking little bitch.
I'm not saying that's the only way they
Oh.
can possibly win, because the Rams are very multi-dimensional. They don't just run through him. Jalen Ramsey will lock up whoever he's on, without a doubt. But Bengals also have a lot of good receivers, so it's not so simple. Cooper Kupp will have a good game, I believe. Cam Akers, I think a lot does weigh on Cam Akers, because when Cam Akers does play well, then the offense is multi-dimensional, and the defense isn't able to, like, you know, shut down just one position or like one option. They have to focus on both. So Cam Akers is kind of important. The rest of the receivers, making sure Cooper Kupp isn't the only one catching the balls, but he's done that basically all season, and you know they've gone this far, so maybe they can win the whole season with Cooper Kupp doing that well.
I think they
To be fair, OBJ has been playing really great too, so maybe it's not all on Cooper Kupp.
yeah.
But really, it comes down to Aaron Donald and the rest of the defensive line. They're going to fuck up the Bengals offensive line. We might just see a blowout to the same degree as Bucks versus the Chiefs,
Really?
because it is a bad offensive line versus a really good defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're set up so similarly. So yeah,
I
it's going to be I'm not saying it absolutely will be a blowout, because my score prediction is Rams 28, Bengals 23. So that's not a blowout. It's a 5-point deficit. I'm just saying that I wouldn't be surprised, though, if it was a blowout, just from that fact. I don't think the Bengals are necessarily prepared to take on a defensive attack that powerful. They did face Max Crosby. That was, they managed to get through him. But, I mean, this defensive line isn't just defined by Aaron Donald. Obviously, he's a huge facet in it, but the rest of that defensive line is very good. So it's going to be hard. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. I concur on most of those points that you said, but the points that I don't concur with you are on the fact of the final score. I have the final score as 30-24. I don't see a blowout. I guess I can kind of see a blowout if it gets carried away, like you said, with the defensive line controlling that Bengals offensive line. But I think this is a close game. We both predicted a very close game. You had a 5-point deficit, and I had a 6-point deficit between each scores. And I just think that Joe Burrow is going to go off with Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase is going to exploit those corners, even though Rams do have a lot of good cornerbacks. I just think that, Bengals are going to pull through, and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow is going to exploit those corners somehow, because, it can't be perfect. But let's move forward to who will have the most passing yards. I'm going to have an upset with Joe Burrow as the person who's going to have the most passing yards, taking over Matthew Stafford.
Well, I have Matthew Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because I think the Cincinnati Bengals have a better rushing attack than the Rams do. Cam Akers is still good, but I think Joe Mixon is by far the better back. And so the Bengals won't take that for granted. They're going to use him enough, especially considering that the pass rush and the pass defense on the defensive back side. They're very good, so they're going to have to mix it up quite a bit with the run to try and keep the passing game effective and relevant. Yeah, that's what I have on that. Receiving wise, I actually have a little bit of a surprise here. I think Odell Beckham Jr. will have the most receiving yards.
You know, that's not too surprising. He almost had the most receiving yards last game.
It's true, but I don't remember last time Cooper Kupp didn't lead his team on receiving yards, so that's mainly the biggest surprise. But I think the Bengals will do a decent job at trying to isolate Cooper Kupp and make him unavailable, but then it's just going to open up a whole new door for Odell Beckham Jr., who finally has the chance to win the Super Bowl. He's finally there. Yeah. Matthew Stafford has that same feeling, like, I'm finally here. Mm-hmm. After being on shitty teams, let's fucking win this. And it's going to be carried through them because they have that, I don't know how to say it, that determination, that drive. And I mean, the rest of the team obviously will have the drive too because they were in the Super Bowl before and they really don't want to lose the second time. So, but I still think, like, I think that spirit will really be driven through Matthew Stafford and Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. could get maybe even 2 touchdowns. Who knows?
Damn, that's crazy.
I think he will pop off.
The only reason why I am rooting for the fans is Matthew Stafford, OBJ, and Aaron Donald to get their first Super Bowls. But I'm going to reset the camera because we are over.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. This feels kind of weird because I don't think we had it since we got back from break. I think this is our first over an hour podcast that we had, which is kind of weird because I haven't had to get up 3 different times. But that's besides the point. I keep getting sidetracked. But
yeah, stop it.
Most receiving yards, I have Jamar Chase, which is not an upset at all. He's probably one of the favorites.
You could definitely.
Next to Cooper Kupp, I think it's Cooper Kupp first, then Jamar Chase as the favorites to get the most receiving yards in this game. And I don't really need to make a case for why I think Jamar Chase will win or will get the most receiving yards. The most rushing yards, though, this is a very big upset because you say at this point previously with Odell Beckham Jr. and Matthew Stafford, I think. But Rams are not a run-heavy offense. They rely on their passing offense, their receivers, Matthew Stafford, the young gunslinger, or one of the gunslingers of this generation. And they're going to rely on Matthew Stafford to get... I lost my track. They're going to rely on Matthew Stafford instead of Cam Akers to win this game because if they do get behind, then they're going to be throwing a lot more than running. Mm-hmm. And Joe Mixon is a far better running back than Cam Akers, and they do rely on Joe Mixon a lot more than the Rams rely on Cam Akers. So that's why it's an upset, but I've been full of upsets this entire time, and it just furthers that. And I think I don't know. I think if Rams get up to a big lead, then they're going to rely on Cam Akers, which is kind of the opposite of what I've been saying, because I've been saying it's going to be a close game. It's not going to be a blowout. But if it happens to be a blowout, then I would at least get one of them right.
All right.
Who do you have?
I have Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon, because in the conference finals, he had the most rushing yards. In the divisional finals, I'm pretty sure he had the most rushing yards. I don't remember, though. I don't think Derrick Henry did. Definitely not. Mm-mm. And the wild card, pretty sure he had the most rushing yards.
I think, didn't Josh Jacobs?
Josh Jacobs had more than Joe Mixon? Maybe.
Wait, we can literally just go back. Wait, no, we can't.
Yeah, we didn't predict that back then. Here, I will look real quick.
What should I do?
Because why not? Well, dude,
what should I do?
Dude, how about you fucking chill?
What should I do in that time?
I'm asking you to
dead
chill.
Air. I don't want dead air on my
I'm
podcast.
Telling you to chill. So it was definitely Josh Jacobs who had the most rushing yards. Joe Mixon, yeah, he didn't have as good as game. He had more carries, but his average was pretty bad actually.
I just want to apologize real quick. This is our podcast. I didn't want to say mine. I was mad in the moment. I was heated.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I don't know why.
But yeah,
weird.
So why did you pick Joe Mixon?
Because I wanted to.
Okay, so he was going to score the first touchdown.
I just think Joe Mixon is prime. He's had the better season. You know, he was I would say top 3 running back this season. You know, he would have been in the Pro Bowl had he not been too busy chasing that ring. So
Ayo. Who do you think is going to score the first touchdown?
How about you chill? I was gonna get to that.
get to it already. Fucking.
Did you talk about yours?
Yeah, I said Cam Akers.
No.
Oh,
That was your most rushing yards.
yeah, but I was waiting for you to be done with Joe Mixon so I can move on to the first touchdown because we didn't go over
But
why you wanted.
why are you telling me to get to mine already when you haven't even gone over yours?
Yeah, because you were.
So I have CJ Uzoma, who's the Bengals tight end. This is kind of random. I was just like, you know what? Let these tight ends feast. You know, Higbee and Uzoma, they're not getting as much respect as the Kittles and the Kelseys of the world. So let the tight ends pop off a little. You know, I'm fine if Higbee gets it instead. I'll still get some points off of it. But, yeah, I think Bengals will strike first because I don't know. I feel like they're kind of a strike first sort of team. They just they get off the hot start sometimes.
Do you think that you're going to pick him up next year if he's available?
Uzoma?
Yeah, if he's
Nope.
available. I bet if you don't have any other tight end to pick up.
I will.
Okay. I just thought you like him. I thought maybe you would pick him up in
I didn't say I
fantasy.
liked him.
All right, so you hate him and you.
I just said he deserves more respect.
I
The
thought
tight ends in general deserve more respect.
I just thought that respect would carry on into fantasy.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Kittle all the way, baby.
Fuck Kittle. Kelsey's where it's at. Where's Zach Ertz? Better than Kittle.
Zach Ertz is not better than Kittle.
100%.
No.
Tell me otherwise. All
I
right.
did.
All
You
right.
have Matthew Stafford,
Yeah.
as a rusher or a receiver.
Rush. I'm going to do
Matthew Stafford rushing. Now
Yes.
that is a
Yes.
hot take.
Yes, it's going to happen. Look, you put in Joe Burrow. Can you fix that?
What do you mean? You can fix that.
I don't know how to fucking fix that.
What? It's
Well,
literally just how you typed it in earlier.
There,
What do
well,
you mean?
but it's cut off. It's cutting off the end.
fine,
I don't know how to
fine,
fucking do
fine,
that.
fine.
You're the fucking spreadsheet god. Thank you. That's all I asked.
Well, you weren't articulating it.
Well,
Can you fix that? Can you fix that?
Well, you're the fucking spreadsheet person. I thought you would know
God.
what I was saying. Or she weren't my co-host.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
I'm
can
just
leave
joking.
right now if you want.
You're
I
probably
can
the
leave
best.
right now.
You're okay. So I have Matthew Stafford as a rush. Another upset. I've just having a lot of upsets this time, and this is.
Yeah,
Do you think
they're all
this?
pretty bad?
Do you think this is the biggest upset that I have so far? I don't know.
I feel like maybe. Sure. Why not?
Okay, so far this is my biggest upset, and I just wanted to be different, and I just wanted to continue that upset vibe. So that's
we
why I picked him.
both thought that an interception would occur first as opposed to a fumble recovery, a safety, or a turnover on downs. Last year, I'm pretty sure it was a turnover on downs before a turnover. Why did you say interception?
I had interception because out of the choices, I think this is the most likely choice. And I just didn't want to, you know.
What an explanation.
That's solely because that's what I was thinking. I'm like, most likely choice gonna happen. You know, this is the most likely thing that's gonna happen, an interception first. And I just think Matthew Stafford has some interception issues. Joe Burrow is interception prone. Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow last game, or the AFC Championship, they were throwing a decent amount of interceptions. Matthew Stafford's known for interceptions, like I said previously, and I think that's the most likely case.
I agree with that.
TOD, turnover on downs. I just didn't want to fully pick all upsets. I wanted to have a couple safe options, like I did with Jamar Chase, and this is my second safe option, just to at least get some points this round.
I would also say turnover on downs is pretty likely, even more so than it would typically be, just because both of the coaches, Zach Taylor and what's his name, Rams coach, why am I blanking? Sean McVay. Both Zach Taylor and Sean McVay are pretty prone to going for it. They're liberal and all that, you know. They don't want to conserve it and punt it away. If they have only a couple yards to go, they'll believe in their team and go for it. And I respect them for that. So turnover on downs is possible just because, you know, both of the defenses are not jokes either. So it's not like a given on any fourth down that they can get it. So yeah.
Team with the most sacks. Oh, it's a team. That's why he had question marks.
Team with the most sacks, not player. He said Von Miller. I have Rams. I would say Aaron Donald, which is the obvious answer.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, of course he will get the most sacks.
Yeah.
You said Von Miller, which I think could happen
Mhm.
too. But we both have Rams, right?
Yeah.
Rams.
I just, with what we said about the defensive line and that Bengals offensive line with Aaron Donald, with Bengals offensive line being bad, and with on the Rams side with Aaron Donald, it's Von Miller, a couple other future Hall of Famers question marks. It's just it's doomed for having the most. I feel like this is the safest thing that I have so far, and probably throughout the next 3 choices that we have. But yeah, I just wanted to play it safe.
Now, how many total field goals will be missed? There is a couple. I think both of them are pretty respectable kickers. Matt Gay and what was the other kicker's name?
Evan McPherson.
Yeah, not enough people are talking about him. I feel like no one knows who he is. That's a lie. That was a lie, a dirty lie. A lot of people are talking about McPherson because he has not missed
12 field goals, I think. 11 or
So
12.
I don't think any field goals will be missed. Even
Wow.
though Matt Gay did miss, in fact, in the conference championships, I don't think he will even have an attempt.
Damn.
I think the Rams will only have touchdowns.
Damn.
And McPherson will score 3 field goals. None of them misses.
Damn. That's insane.
But the Rams will still win because touchdowns are what matter.
I would take that bet on the McPherson, but with 3 out of 3. But I have 1 field goal miss because I just feel like the nerves will get to someone, Matt Gay or Evan McPherson. I feel like the nerves of just being in their first Super Bowl. Well, I think Matt Gay has been in a Super Bowl. I don't know if he was on that team when the Rams went to the Super Bowl a few years back with the Patriots. But I just think nerves will get to them, and at least 1 field goal is missed. Because I remember with the Eagles-Patriots Super Bowl, a few field goals were missed, and a few extra points were missed during that game. And I think just the nerves of being at the Super Bowl will at least create 1 field goal miss. I don't know when that will be. I think it'll be in the beginning. But that's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
What were you looking up? What were you feverishly typing?
So when the Rams were 13-3,
Mm-hmm.
they went to the Super Bowl, and their roster consisted of Greg Zuerlein
Oh,
was their kicker on their Super Bowl team.
I forgot about Zuerlein. He was really good that year. I remember he was really good in fantasy.
They also had Ndamukong Suh,
I also do remember that.
and most people remember they had Todd Gurley. They also had Brandon Cooks.
Damn,
Did you know that? They had Brandon Cooks.
that's insane.
Cooper Kupp was on IR.
Really?
He did not get to play.
Damn.
Okay, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
That was fun while it lasted.
So Matt Gay is his first Super Bowl appearance. So yeah, that even furthers my case of the Jetters of playing in their first Super Bowl and just playing in the Super Bowl in general. I feel like veterans go into Super Bowls and still miss just due to nerves, even if they've been into multiple Super Bowls. But that's why I have 1 field goal missed. But
That's interesting.
will there be a 2-point conversion made? I'm going to say no. I thought I misread the fucking question again. I thought how many 2-point conversions will be made. I meant it's not a numeric answer. It's a yes or no answer. I'm going to put no. I guess 0 is no, but it wasn't a numeric.
In binary code, it is.
Yeah.
I say yes. There
Ooh.
will be a 2-point conversion.
Why do you think it's going to happen?
I think this is what's going to happen.
Yes.
Rams.
Mm.
Well, actually, let's start from the very beginning. Actually, Bengals score first,
Mm-hmm.
7. Rams score second, but they missed their extra point attempt,
Mm-hmm.
so it'll be 7-6, and that's going to be like bothering Sean McVay the whole time. So when they have the chance to take the lead later in the game, they get the touchdown. He's going to be like, "Fuck it, let's go for it. Let's make up for the fact that we didn't get that one." And then they get it, and everyone's going to be like, "Yeah."
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
All right, cool. I don't know. Chances are that there will be a 2-point conversion attempt at least, that's pretty high. But I just don't think anyone's going to make it because, I don't know, I just wanted to say no. And then my gut feeling is telling me no. So I'm just going to go with my gut.
But anyways.
Yeah. You know what?
How many yards on the longest kick return? This is not the punt return. Kick. How many yards gained?
I say 36.
I say 40.
Damn.
So we're pretty close on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just whoever's the closest for this. If it ends up being 39, I'd be the closest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you were basically there, but I was
Yeah.
closer. So I would get the 5 points. And that is it. That is our Super Bowl predictions. LVI. I don't know what LVI means. I think it's 56.
Yes.
Is it?
I had a question, too.
I don't think it's 56.
I had a question. I had a question, and I forget what it is, but I don't. It doesn't matter.
56?
Doesn't
LVI is 56, right?
Yeah.
LVI number.
I think that's LVI. I don't know even. No, I'm so bad with Roman numerals.
It is. It's 56.
Hey, yo,
I'm just making sure. I once did a test in English class with Roman numerals for whatever reason. I don't know why. We had to do a test on Roman numerals, and I aced it. So.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
You're Mr. Smarty Pants.
I would say so.
Yeah. What do you think about the Winter Olympics?
I feel.
Have you even watched any or?
I feel very conflicted.
Why?
Here's why.
Give us why.
This summer,
Mm-hmm.
you know that I stayed up or woke up very early, either or, to watch the Summer Olympics in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a big Olympics fan at the end of the day. So I said, fuck my sleep. I'll make up for it in the daytime. Right now, I'm going to watch the Olympics. So I would stay up till 3 a.m. or sometimes I would wake up at 3 a.m. and then watch until the morning. And then I would sleep through the day. This is literally what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love the Olympics that much. However, with these Olympics, I believe it's Pyeongchang is the host city, the Chinese host city. There's some controversy. I don't know if you know this. Do you know about the controversy?
I think I know some I don't even know how to pronounce, but I agree. Controversy. Yes.
There's a controversy, which I believe is very valid, and I actually have a more personal attachment to, just from having lived internationally and been amongst and befriended and been welcomed into a country that is predominantly Muslim. I feel very conflicted about this edition of the Olympics because of China's track record with their Muslim population. More particularly, there's a specific region or denomination, maybe not denomination, or maybe it's more of an ethnicity or race. There's a specific group of people, let's just put it that are Muslim in China and have been basically put in what people are calling modern day concentration camps, and have been displaced and basically just stripped away of their humanity. And it wasn't getting a lot of press, but once it was announced that China would host, they considered it sports washing, which is very common. It is also central to the controversy with Qatar, who will be hosting the World Cup in the upcoming year. Actually, later this year. Wow. Forgot that it caught up on us. Anyways, sports washing, and there are a lot of other variations of this term, is basically where a country uses a big event, in this case a sporting event, to try to get people to ignore the fact that they have a terrible human rights track record, or basically any other track record, whether that be environmental or whatever. And so with Qatar, it was also because of not human trafficking, but
child slave
labor.
Yeah.
Bad labor laws. It was also central to debate, to a controversy in Saudi Arabia, who hosted an international film festival, and people just said, oh, this is all propaganda. They're going to pretend like they care about freedom of press, freedom of, people's individual freedoms to display, political matters in whatever way they want. But at the end of the day, they're only going to show what they want to show. So because it was heavily funded by the government, which in most cases, at most places all over the world who host film festivals, that is usually what happens. But so yeah, that is something I thought everyone should be aware of, at least, that there's some reason not to support this Olympics. America did not formally send their delegation to the Olympics, so it's a, I don't know how you call it, it's like a political boycott, but their athletes are still there. NBC is still broadcasting it, so it didn't really like change much on the surface level of us like watching the Olympics. It didn't change that aspect of it, but it's basically just to say like America to China, like, hey, we don't support what you're doing, and we are not going to be providing further support in the future. It was just like a vocal thing mainly, and China did not take that lightly, so things are a bit tense.
I did not know that like about this like entire situation, about the whole like controversy with China, and the first thing that I heard about it was a conversation before today when Claudia came over. Claudia, and Josh were talking about it when I was editing Saturday night, our short film for Babellion. But they were talking about this earlier, the same thing with China and all that controversy, and with child slaves and the concentration camps, etc., etc. So I never heard about that. I just was casually watching like some of the winter events with, the ski jump, the lounge, the sledding thing down like the ice thing. Curling I watched, and women's ice hockey, and I just would never have thought about it, or I would never have heard anything else about it if it wasn't for Claudia and Josh. But it's interesting how they're doing. Do you think they're doing a good job at covering it up or no?
I mean, that is the whole like idea, I guess. It's not like they're gonna talk about it. At least China won't deliberately. It's just everyone else is kind of pointing at it, and China just doesn't respond. They don't care to respond. NBC did open their first broadcast on the Winter Olympics by mentioning it, but then they didn't give any like take on it. They were just like, we're here. This is what's happening, but we're here. So that was kind of interesting. Just like, I didn't even think NBC was going to mention it at all, but they did, but gave no reason as to why they still remained. You want to know why, though? You want to know why they're still there?
Yeah.
Money.
Yes, it's all about that fucking money. Fucking greedy bastards. But yeah, at least the U.S. is taking a step in the correct direction, I guess. And I guess it's kind of a good step that NBC announced it, but
Well, I don't blame any of the athletes for still going, because that is their big thing once every 4 years. I think to a degree you could also argue for NBC, saying like, well, if our athletes are going, then it's our responsibility, is our obligation as the broadcasting partner of the Olympics to be there and to document what our American athletes are doing. I think you can argue a bunch of different things, but at the end of the day, it's up to the Olympic Committee for the fact that they still let China put this on. And so I think that is the biggest. I think you kind of have to trace it all the way back and say, okay, it's really down to the fact that the Olympic Committee let this happen in the first place. It's shameful.
I agree. Yeah. Did you watch any of the events yet, or it's just kind of sideline for you?
I did see Nathan Chen represent his team in figure skating, just because that was a big storyline going into it, because at his first Olympic appearance he did very bad, unfortunately, despite being the heavy favorite. And so this year he's hoping that he represents his country better.
Wait, is basketball summer, winter?
Summer.
Okay, never mind then. I thought it was winter for some reason. I was like, I haven't heard anything about basketball. I thought basketball was one of the popular sports in the Olympics, but that makes sense. But the only thing that...
Yeah, they put they put any sport in Summer Olympics as long as it doesn't have ice or snow.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's Winter Olympics.
Yeah, that makes sense. That I just thought it
Even
was
if it's like more commonly played in the winter, like in America, we always have it through the winter, but they'll have that in the Summer Olympics because it doesn't have to do with ice or snow. So.
Yeah, I just thought that since it was indoor, maybe, but that makes a lot of sense. And the last thing that I thought was interesting with the ice, like I got really into the women's ice hockey because I was watching it at Janet's house, and the women's beat Sweden a couple of days ago 8-0, or I think it was yesterday morning, I think, Sunday morning. But they beat Sweden 8-0, and it was kind of interesting, the scoring. And our biggest opponent for it was a U.S. women's hockey, and the biggest opponent for the U.S. team is Canada. And in 3 games, the way it works, if there's a tie between like the records, and the team with the most points wins or advances and moves on, or just wins the entire thing. So in 3 games, the hockey team, our U.S.'s hockey team, scored 18 total points. They scored 18 points and only let up 2 scores, which you're thinking, wow, that's like very impressive. Like in hockey, you don't see that many points in a 3-game stretch that long. But in Canada, what is the most shocking thing is that they played only 2 games as of Sunday. This is going to be released Thursday, so it's going to be like more games played or whatever. But Canada played 2 games. They scored a total of 23 points and only let up 2 scores in 2 games. That's an average of like 11.5 points, I think, or
that's crazy.
11.5. Yeah, 11.5 points. Which I just wanted to say that real quick. I just thought that was an absurd number. But yeah, do you want to end it here?
Yeah, I think.
You think? Or you want to say anything real quickly, or you just want to end it?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching. What did I say? I said I was going to drag it out.
You did.
And I was right. I didn't think I would drag it out for almost an hour and a half.
We talked. That's for sure. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Go.